gentlemen, we live in hell. I know it's been a while since you've heard from me, and for that, I'm sorry. It's one of those things where I'll tell you exactly what happened. I recorded an episode on schedule, like I was supposed to, for the week after my last episode, and somehow I managed to delete it after I had finished it. This was enough to throw me into a tailspin that took this long for me to recover from, because then after that it was one of those weird things where every time I would sit down to attempt to record one, I just couldn't get there. And I was having a bit of that just minutes ago, and we're trying to fight through it. So I know that it's been a while. Shut up. I love you. Thanks for being here. And a lot has happened since the last time that I've spoken to anyone in this way. The Taliban have taken over Afghanistan again. Limp Bizkit headlined Lollapalooza, and we collectively stepped into a time machine and went back to the year 2001. You know, they say history repeats itself. This was a little sudden. Didn't take very long, didn't? It was pretty quick. The videos of the people at the airport in Kabul hanging on to the planes like fucking Tom Cruise shooting his own stunts in fucking Mission Impossible. And these people, and they're filming it, and they're just kind of like sitting on like no rational person would think that what they were doing was going to work. So imagine how bad that makes the alternative in their minds. The idea of what they were faced with staying there seemed worse than sitting on it's not even funny, it's horrific. And, knowing that you're gonna fucking most likely fall to your death, like guaranteed fall to your death. And some of those videos, man, I like Twitter, but Jesus, sometimes when wild shit happens, you end up accidentally clicking on a video without any real context and seeing the most horrific thing you've ever seen in your life. Watching people, free fall from this plane at a couple 100 or 1,000 feet, whatever the case may be, it's Jesus. But imagine thinking that was the better choice. Fuck it, I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna see. Tom Cruise did it. Anyway. It's the 20-year mark has passed for September 11th. I went back and forth a good chunk of. I planned to, when I missed the first episode, I planned that maybe I'd come back and address the fact that it was the 20th anniversary of September 11th. But who gives a fuck what I have to say about that? Because I couldn't even come up with anything. Because there's no real way to talk about it that's funny, and there is, but I'm not going to do that, and I also don't want to even get into the debate that still exists as to like what exactly happened on that day, and because it's so out of control now, and I've touched on that before, that I don't want to get swept into anything fucking crazy. But it's been 20 years. The world has been completely reshaped in its wake, and none of it's really good. That's clear. But the world continues to devolve into absolute chaos, and everyone is still just fighting with one another for the sake of fighting. It does feel like some people are getting tired of it. like, I don't know that I see as much of it. I think a lot of people, I feel like there is a lot of people out there who might have had a little bit more of a hard stance at one point in time who don't now. Not that they don't care, but they sort of, if you're championing one side and you're able to see the clear hypocrisy of your team, for lack of a better term, acknowledging it, like not pretending that it doesn't exist. And one of these things got me into a bit of, well, not trouble because it's not real and none of it is real, but I posted something online regarding AOC and her statement dress that she used at the on the red carpet for the Met Gala, and I met a lot of arguments and examples of why it wasn't the horrible. It wasn't laced with the horrible optics I was saying that it was. And I hear you. I get it. But there is no way to wash the stink off of you, even with a message. You are at an elite event on a red carpet in a designer dress, rubbing elbows with celebrities and, entrepreneurs and whoever the fuck else is at the Met Gala, because I don't know. I don't care. And you're enjoying the spread. You're in there. You're having the hors d'oeuvres. You're having some drinks. If you really wanted to make a statement, you would have worn that dress and hung out front and, handed out food to homeless people or something. Like, I don't know. I get, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I'm not disputing whether or not her intentions were 100% pure. I don't care if she got the ticket for free or the dress for free. None of it matters. The optics of it are wild. And the left should know that the right doesn't need very much to latch on to something and be like, well, look at this. Well, look at this. Look at this, flashy celebrity wearing a fucking designer dress on the red carpet with Kim Kardashian. And then you could say to them, yeah, well, she didn't, she didn't pay for the dress. That everybody, new elected officials can get in or whatever, and they're going to be like, yeah, no. Like, they'll just completely disregard it. And you have to realize that. They're going to completely disregard it. So the fact that this got through an entire staff of presumably yes people is sort of a very unique look inside the mindset of these people, especially now with all the, the talk of what is the social stance that you are supposed to have for whatever team you represent in order to continue collecting that social currency. And, the fact that none of them were able to speak up or even just say for 1 second, hey, is this fucking insane? Like, nobody asked that question. Do you think that maybe this is fucking insane? That was at least my initial reaction to it. And, because you can go and put on a show. Like I said, I just think that it could have been better served doing something else, showing up to the red carpet and then like never going in, and then going in, volunteering in a soup kitchen while wearing that gown, or something. If any of you dipshits out there in the political realm need some sort of PR guy to come up with better ideas than that, please email me. WeLiveInHellPod@gmail.com. So there's been a lot of, that's also been another reason I think holding me back from recording an episode in the last month is that the stories, I think part of me, I just kind of shut off. I wasn't paying attention to anything, which isn't good for this particular thing I'm trying to do. So, but it was kind of nice, also kind of anxiety inducing, also kind of questioning everything I'm doing. Yeah, and I guess it wasn't all good. But there wasn't really many things up until whatever that had, this TikToker went into a national forest and annoyed her boyfriend until he killed her. I'm just kidding. That's obviously been the thing that's been dominating the news. And but this kid, man, this Brian Laundrie and his family, talk about not even attempting to conceal potential involvement. And this is what the FBI gets paid to do, I guess. Go find him. Go find him. I'm just saying, when you watch that video of them pulled over in Utah or wherever, and she immediately, as soon as the camera starts rolling, just doesn't shut the fuck up or really make a whole lot of sense. I'm not saying I get it, but I'm saying, yeah, I'm not blown away. Like, really? He killed her? No, rest in peace. And, I hope they find the guy, because no matter what, even if, she really was a psycho, you're a grown man, and there's probably better ways to handle it instead of murdering her. A man was killed in a freak accident at McDonald's in the drive-thru at the window. Not what you would think. Heart attack. Fist fight between the employee through the window. Stray bullet from a shooting nearby. No. Fast food customer was killed in what police called a, quote, freak accident at a drive-thru window at McDonald's at a McDonald's in Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver police said the man opened his door to get something he dropped from his window while paying, setting off last week's tragedy. As he opened the door and leaned out, the car rolled forward. The door hit part of the restaurant, and he was pinned between the door and the frame. Quote, efforts were made by first responders to revive the man, but tragically, he died on scene. Police Constable Tanya Vicinton said in a news release. This is an absolutely heartbreaking scenario. Our deepest condolences go out to the family and friends of this man. God, yes, obviously, all to his family and friends, deepest condolences. But to the poor person who was working that drive-thru window for probably not enough money, unless you're in certain areas of the internet where you think these people are Scrooge McDucking into dollar bills and McNuggets. If you're at like the end of like a 10-hour fucking shift and you just, the last thing that you want to do is have to file like incident reports, and I don't know. So it's not how you would expect someone to die at McDonald's, though, overall. Usually you would think it was a health-related thing or a temper-related thing. The victim's name has not been released. Even if it was, I wouldn't say it, because Jesus Christ, this is awful. Accidents aren't unheard of at drive-thru windows. It does happen mostly when people try to get something out of their car. They may lean out of the door and not put their car in park. I'm debating on whether I should tell this story or not. Well, I'm not going to name names. I am friends with someone who, his father is no longer with us. Rest in peace. And this man had, what we'll say, a taste for alcohol. And so much so that I've heard a lot of DUI stories growing up where I did, and knowing the people that I do, it was not uncommon. I know some people that you would swear they were going for the high score. This is at the top of the list. This gentleman went to a McDonald's, and this was a location that happened to be 24 hours. He went in there, I believe, around 2 or 3 in the morning, and he pulled into the drive-thru. He placed his order at the speaker, as you do. He started driving around the horseshoe-shaped drive-thru to approach the window, and about halfway through, he just came to a stop with his foot on the brake, passed out with his car in drive and his foot on the brake, and he stayed like that until the police came. And I think that might have been this guy was, again, he was one that was working on the high score, and no jail time that I remember, and that's just, small town USA. Anyway, this poor gentleman who had this, we'll call it a mishap in the McDonald's drive-thru, What if it was something crazy, like he was reaching for like a coupon to just save like $1 on something that he had ordered, and that's what killed him? This guy's obviously got it tough enough. I don't need to be sitting here shitting on him. But nevertheless, and of course it's in Canada. I said that for no reason at all. Speaking of Canada, and a quick side note before I forget, rest in peace, Norm McDonald, fucking legend and someone that I loved and looked up to for the better part of my life growing up, seeing reruns of SNL with him doing Weekend Update, and I don't even need to say it. Norm MacDonald was a comedian that every comedian loved, and that's really all that you need to know about that. If you're not familiar, please check it out and just see what a master of the craft looks like at work. And if you don't think it's funny, fuck you. So again, this isn't like an uncommon thing. This happens apparently from time to time because just odds, just the odds. In 2012, also in Canada, Jesus, a woman suffered serious injuries in just such a situation when her foot slipped off the brake and the car rolled forward. So I'm assuming she was also hanging halfway out of the car. Just get your shit together, And if you got fumbly fingers, just maybe go inside. And if you're too unhealthy to walk inside, I don't think McDonald's is the meal for you. So I'm just saying, that's it. I said exactly what I meant. And again, in 2018, a motorist opened a door at a Jack in the Box drive-thru in St. Louis to get his food. Oh, one of those where the window doesn't work. He had to fucking open the door. That's already tough. But he tried to back up, but accelerated while doing so. Hit a tree and was pinned between the car and the tree. Jesus. What a way to go out. What a way to go out. The only thing worse would be if you survived and then got your food in the ambulance and they got the fucking order wrong. Yeah, you're alive, but man, how much can you deal with in a day? So this one was a fun one, and this might not interest a whole lot of you, but this is deeply entertaining to me. This is coming out of CBS 8 News Now in Las Vegas, home of George Knapp. For those of you who don't know who George Knapp is, he is a journalist. He helped break the story of Bob Lazar and his detailed account of working at a government facility with craft that were not from this planet. And, there's the Netflix documentary on him, and he's done many things with Jeremy Corbell, who also directed that. That's a whole thing. He's got a long history of being a very good journalist, but also being very open to things related to this topic, which is hard to find. It's increasingly less hard to find now, but in the late 80s and early 90s, there was, unheard of. So this is apparently there is a retired intelligence official. This is a woman. She claims to be a retired intelligence official and also claims to know that where an alien base is hidden in the Mojave Desert. A woman, she goes by an alias. So, you know what? I'm gonna restructure this. So, she claims somewhere in the Mojave Desert is a hidden base inside of a mountain where extraterrestrials live. For anybody who is familiar with any kind of lore like this, think Dulce, Archuleta Mesa, kind of same idea. In underground, they call them DUMBs, deep underground military bases, which is funny if they don't exist, and it is just some sort of troll for people like myself. So she claims that they are living there and working there, and she also describes herself as a retired defense intelligence officer who now goes by the alias Anjali. So last month, she held up. Now, here's where I immediately have conflict with this woman's story. So that last sentence that I said about how she goes by an alias, her real name is Angelia Lynn Johnston. And she held her own news conference in front of the Lincoln Memorial in D.C. Now, when I think of someone using an alias, especially someone who is supposed to be credible, I'm assuming that they need to use that alias because they can't use their real name. To have an alias and then in the next sentence have your full actual name printed implies to me that you are probably full of shit. This is like a weirder adult version of the kid who gave himself a nickname because nobody had anything cool to call him other than, Scott or Hey Dickhead. She announced that she will be bringing an astronaut and scientist to the secret base and to meet with the higher beings. And she said that she claims that she met them in 2018. So she's been holding this one in for a while. Had to come up with the alias and everything. There is no date for the event that she is speaking about, though. Everything's kind of loose with the aliens. They got a lot going on. They here and there, in and out, zip and zap. They can't commit to anything on paper up front. They'll let us know when they fucking can pencil us in. So now Nap, I'm sure if this actually happens, I'm sure he's going to be there to cover it, and I look forward to it greatly. Obviously, this was a small gathering of people who actually showed up, and when I say small gathering of people who showed up, I'm picturing it was just people who were walking by the Lincoln Memorial that this fucking lady started shouting at, and they all stopped and went, "Hey, look, let's hear what this crazy lady's yelling about." Oh, alien bases in the Mojave Desert. Perfect. Yes. The news they streamed the event online. You can go and watch it. I didn't because, like I said, I can't get past the here's my alias, but here's my real name thing. Because, that's pretty ridiculous. Staying on the same subject, it's weird story that came out regarding aliens coming from the planet called Proxima Centauri, or a planet that orbits the star Proxima Centauri. It's not something that's brought up often, even within the UFO or alien community. But recently, scientists have announced the discovery of Proxima b, an exoplanet that's orbiting Proxima Centauri. It's 4 light years away, which is, relatively speaking, not that bad. And people immediately began speculating about whether there's life there, what it might host, water, blah, blah, blah. It's the same conversation every time. But the announcement comes decades after someone published, quote-unquote, evidence that, quote, Xenos aliens from a planet in the Proxima Centauri system had already made the trip between our planets. According to this quote-unquote evidence, the aliens are about 8 to 8.5 feet tall, humanoid in shape, and 5 times stronger than humans. We never get the good end of that deal. They eat tasteless pills and have no need for sleep. Adderall? Or they're describing Adderall. They visited a number of ancient civilizations on Earth and were most recently spotted in Taiwan in December of 2012. Self-described super UFO enthusiast Scott Waring posted the Taiwan sighting, which is available online. It also seems easily explainable as an odd light artifact, and I'm not, a professional skeptic, and I'd love to see one that was just like that. There it is. There it is. Can't be anything else. I would love it. That's what I'm waiting for. Every time I'm outside at night and look up at the sky, I'm like, please, fucking, come on. Surely, that can't be the only evidence of aliens in Proxima b, though, right? So the origin story of human interaction with the alleged aliens from around Proxima Centauri is actually not that widely known, but there's a backstory, and it is so. Beginning in 1957 and continuing on for 7 years, a team of psychologists in California had lengthy conversations with a charming and friendly alien from somewhere in the vicinity of Alpha Centauri. He came to be known simply as Hands. That's Mr. Hands to you. The name comes from the fact that the creature was revealed in time to be a lovable and childlike but huge being with a dome-shaped body, 8 hands, and an intelligence that was perhaps somewhere between that of a human and a dog. That feels like a backhanded assessment. Yeah, there's somewhere between dog and human. This is according to an account in something called ESP in Hypnosis by Susie Smith. Now, Hands was not physically present in the room with these researchers all those years ago. Of course not. That would be crazy. Instead, he appeared to emerge through interactions with a young woman under hypnosis. That's right. Some crazy little ghost antenna in a room rolling her eyes back into her head like the fucking Undertaker and communicating trans-universe with a being. Now, in 1976, the researchers published a book about their research involving hypnosis and their many conversations with Hands. The identity of the woman who was under hypnosis still remains protected. I suspect it was Rosemary Kennedy. There's a book. It's hard to get. You can't find it out there anywhere. I found a copy online that was going for like $300, and I was just like, I mean, if I had $300 to blow on a book, yeah, I'd buy it. Now, they make no assertions in the book about whether Hands and the Xenos aliens are real or products of the active imagination of this potential psychopath, but a small corner of the internet takes the words of Hands channeled through that woman as gospel. Over their many sessions, Hands revealed that it knew of and was in contact with a handful of other intelligent species, including humans, dolphins, and the Xenos aliens from a planet around Proxima Centauri. They were talking to the dolphins? It's like, is it humans, dolphins, and then other aliens? And like, that's it? What about dogs? If we're on the same scale as dogs. Hey, the next time you talk to the dolphins, why don't you tell them to tone it down with the rape? Humans, too, for that matter. Physicist Dr. Barry Wormkessel, who for decades has been developing some pretty out-there alternate theories of how planets and sentient life forms evolve, has said that the alien figure spotted in Taiwan is, quote, possibly a Xenos alien. A doctor. Wormkessel has integrated the account of Xenos aliens from a Proxima planet into his broader theory of the universe called astrometrics, which is really detailed and involved and stupid. It's just science fiction gobbledygook, you know. This guy could start the next Scientology because he's very L. Ron Hubbard-esque. So, yeah, I don't know. These quote-unquote researchers were hypnotically communicating with a quote-unquote alien, and then this quote-unquote doctor is basically saying, like, yeah, it might have happened. Which, for the dork in me, is, like, good enough. But for any rational thinking person, you're just like, well, this sounds like two charlatans and a mentally ill woman, putting the rub on. I mean, wasn't that the plot of a movie? Where hypnosis was being used for them to, like, remember being abducted by aliens? They sold it as, like, one of those found footage movies. I don't know. Who cares? Again, I can't stress this enough. Stay out of the fucking national parks. Okay? Just stay out of them. Yeah, they look nice. It's pretty. I don't even agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine, but like, that's why I have a computer. That's what backgrounds and wallpapers are for. Anyway, yeah, so I'm hoping that with putting this episode out that I'm going to get back on track with all of this and do a better job of actually, well, I mean, I was doing, I got to do a better job all around, especially with not deleting episodes and then not clamming up for a month like an absolute fucking lunatic and being unable to speak into a microphone. Yeah, so there's lots going on in the world. What are you gonna do? It keeps on spinning. Let's give it up for Marjorie Taylor Greene, though. Just going out and making basically we're using memes on the Senate floor now, and I for one am thrilled. I think it's hilarious. I'm waiting for the MTG MGK collab, and then I'm gonna fucking kill myself. So Detroit is getting a little bit of help from one of its hometown heroes, Eminem. Detroit's a city that's been through some horrible times, and it still is going through some horrible times. And there's just, an underappreciated American city who was, forgotten about as industry moved on from our shores and into other places. And thankfully, a very capable and well-funded famous person is now coming to the rescue. Eminem has announced that he is opening up a restaurant in Detroit called Mom's Spaghetti. I just wanted you to know. I don't even really have anything to say about it because, see, what my goal is with this podcast is to find actual news stories and try to make them funny and point out, the insanity of it all. Most of the things I'm seeing these days are just so overtly insane, you don't even need it pointed out to you. So I don't have a purpose. But what the fuck are we doing? They're running commercials. And he's vomiting cartons of spaghetti out. Yep. That's what we're doing. Now, as just as a funny idea, yeah, I get it. But and I did zero research on this, so I'm sure that he's done a lot of other stuff. And God, I hope so, because this is atrocious. This is atrocious. However, if I ever am in Detroit, and God help me if I am, if I ever want to eat spaghetti out of looks like a Chinese food container with a shitty tattoo on it, I guess I'll go there. I don't know how many spaghetti options you got when you're in Detroit, but now I know there's going to be at least one. Everyone's up in arms now. Obviously the debate rages on about the vaccine and whether or not it's going to save us and continue to move forward as a society, or whether it's going to turn us all into time bombs for when the reptile government decides that they don't need us anymore. It really just depends on who you ask. Now, there's a lot of concern going on with people talking of boosters as the spread of the Delta variant continues, and people who are already fully vaccinated are still getting sick. And, I feel like we're getting to a point where everybody's just kind of gotta be like, all right, like, well, what the fuck? What are we doing? What are we gonna do? When can we just say, I don't care? I don't care. When can we say, I just don't care, whether you are or aren't? This isn't even a political statement. I am vaccinated. I'm just so sick of fucking hearing about it. And I'm mostly sick of hearing stupid fucking people talk about it. So, I'm just ready to just say, who cares? I already got the other two. They're going to get you. It's like any other thing that they sell to you in installments. I only have two. I'm going to get the third one. But ultimately, who gives a shit? Who cares? Can you go back out to bars and eat mozzarella sticks and drink Miller Lite until you're ready to puke and sexually assault a fucking girl you went to high school with? Yeah. Yeah. You shouldn't do that, but people are doing that. Again. And also, I'm sure, behaving and being, fine. But everybody's sort of just doing their thing again. Everybody's over it. The people who aren't sick of talking about it are the fucking most annoying people in the world anyway, so who gives a shit what they have to say to begin with? Just make your choice. Because here's the thing, if you're on one team and you're wrong, whatever. Doesn't seem to be any, real horrible side effects from this vaccine. Yeah. But what happens if it goes the other way? I mean, just with a simple game of odds, we're clearly, I don't know. Again, who cares? No one gives a shit. Get the jab. Don't spread COVID. Don't kill your family. Don't. Ladies and gentlemen, Britney Spears is now a free person. She's free. The internet did it. You did it, guys. Now, all I'm saying, I'm glad. If she's good to go, I'm glad. Nobody deserves to live under anybody's thumb like that. Especially your fucking asshole father. But if this goes the other way, and she's dead in 3 months, and like half of her house burns down at the same time, again, then people are going to have to go, well, God, we really kind of screwed that one up, didn't we? You made a judgment call. It's like, you win some, you lose some. I wish her the best. But boy, does it feel like maybe it's going to go that way. That's about it. I'm going to wrap this up. I managed to kind of stumble through this one, and I'm going to do my best not to delete it, because if I do, you'll never hear this, and I will never record another one. But, yeah, so like I said, I'm hoping to get back on schedule with this, and I'm sure the world won't stop giving me things to talk about. Like I said, I just hope some of them don't border on so much parody on their face, because then I don't have anything to make jokes about. But, alright, I appreciate you being here. I apologize again for the delay in a new episode, but, yeah, shit happens. We'll see you next time.